time's a ways to go. So where you go into tomorrow?
We should play this song more often. Mary thought that plush was a euphemism for fat. And Bill and I were under the impression that it just meant fancy.
Fancy rich, yeah.
I think you were right.
You know, huh?
I was just a little self-conscious, that's all. Just a little upset that my pants
Oh, you
don't
were?
fit.
Uh-huh.
I might have been projecting.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we
At
know.
least you recognize it now.
Hey, therapy every 2 weeks.
It's working.
Now, will this work its way into therapy?
I had therapy this morning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have therapy every 2 weeks.
When I'm home, yes. Sometimes it's longer than that if I'm on the road, but I try to go to therapy every 2 weeks, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. It seemed infrequent to me.
Well, it's just, I mean, he's a busy guy too, but I mean, every week. I was going every week when my dad first
And how
died.
does that make you feel?
That I go to therapy every 2 weeks?
That he's a busy guy.
Oh, that's okay.
That he doesn't have enough time for you.
It's okay he doesn't have time for me. That's okay. He's got other people he needs to care for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
You do this over the laptop?
Nope, in person.
I hit up my old therapist, and I go, hey, I was thinking about coming back. Mm-hmm. And he's only doing laptop. And I go,
not a fan.
I'm not doing laptop.
Yeah.
Nope. I can go on an app and do that. I
Yeah.
can go to one of those apps that they're always
BetterHelp
trying.
or whatever, yeah.
Whatever it is, sure. I'm sure we're advertising it on our app right now in the middle of this
As we
segment.
speak.
As we speak, I'm sure there's an advertise. You're not even hearing me if you're listening on the iHeartRadio app because, of course, they're airing commercials as we're talking. But fortunately, as the #1 digital company in the world, I'm sure we'll get it all figured out. Toot sweet. Hey, listen, I was reading a thing. It said that your chances of hooking up are way better, and this can't come as a shock, but when you see it in print, that means it must be true. That hookup is way more likely if the woman makes the first move.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I assume...
Well, I was like, this. Who's thinking this is science? I mean, come on.
I assume this is confined to heterosexual relationships. It can be very confusing otherwise. But dates are more likely... Right, this is from Duh Magazine. Dates are more likely to end in bed if the woman makes the first move. These are things that people feel compelled to study. So you got to put both balls in her court before you get to put them anywhere else. And
Although
they did a study of over 20,000 college students. And they say, of course, modern dating continues to evolve, but hookups are much more likely if the woman makes the first move. However, 89% of dates are initiated by guys. So last segment we were talking about the odds being for you or against you. They are against you.
Right, but that's why I don't play the slots.
Yeah! That's right.
I
Plays the
will say
craps.
This is true to a certain extent because drunk Mare was very overzealous with men, and I had no couth. I would just walk up and be like, "You seem hot. Do you want to go home?" And guys aren't usually as into that.
Yeah, but if you keep throwing it out there, you'll get somebody.
I did.
Yes,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying that they can also be. You can come on too strong.
Well,
it's also a thing.
But it's also there is that tipsy's cute.
Yes.
Sloppy drunk is not hot.
Yes.
Because you know you're going to do all this work to get her back, and she's going to pass out, or and if
Throw
you're
up somewhere.
right,
Yeah.
And if you're a nice guy, passing out means it's time to go.
Right.
Doesn't mean that for every guy, but so yeah, drunk Mare was probably
Yeah, I usually wait.
aggressive.
If they add me on social media and then not just add me, but like initiate interacting with me on social media, that's usually a good sign.
When's the last person that you went out with that you did not meet on social media?
The dry humper.
Where'd you meet her?
Friend of a friend.
Okay. Because it seems like that's a pattern with you. They're either listeners of the show or followers on social
I
media.
can't help that I'm super popular, Mary.
Oh, God.
Products of our success.
There's nothing wrong with
He
it.
doesn't
I
hide
just didn't know if that was always your go-to or if you met someone like you said, a friend of a friend or
Friend
out
of a
at a
friend,
bar
yeah,
or something
that was
like
the
that.
last one.
There was one time at a family gathering that my aunt and my mom had a friend over, and she was I don't know if she was from the hospital, but she was a friend. They had a mutual friend. And one of my other cousins brought one of their friends over, and it was like a family game night. And the girl that my mom and my aunt knew was hitting on the guy that my cousin brought. And my aunt was like, she's such a skank. Like, I can't believe she's hitting on her. And my mom was like, why are you judging her? Like, let her have some fun. Like, I think she was going through a divorce, like, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, she's just flirting.
So she was an older woman.
And so my aunt was like, no, she's a skank. She's going to go home with him. Girls don't come on to guys like that unless they want to sleep with them. And mom was like, that is not true. Girls, I'm all for equality. Girls can play the same game guys can. And she was like, she's going to go home with him. And she's like, she's not that way. Why was her car there in the morning?
Yeah.
And my mom was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Carol would do something like that.
Carol.
If
you meet a Carol, you're going to have a good time.
No, I don't know if her
My
name was
mom.
Carol. I just, for lack of a better name, I just called her Carol because I didn't want to call her Karen. But my mom was like, oh my gosh, my sister was right. She was like, I know she was. She was coming on to him. And
But why is that all?
Whatever. There's nothing
But
wrong
also,
with
yeah,
that.
why was
so
that a
mad.
bad thing? But why was it?
Older generation?
She just
think
said it
that's
was-
a bad
she-
thing.
Yeah, but his mom's older. You can't pin Poundcake's mom down because on the one hand she's very progressive about this, but then she also believes in pterodactyls are flying around.
well, she was
But, you know,
progressive until she found out that she went home with him.
but why does she care?
Because my aunt
Because
was
then
right.
her aunt was right, and then it's
Because she was like, my aunt was very old school. She's like, that's not cute. You don't come on to a guy. Play hard to get. That's not cute. She was openly just flirting with them and like, oh my gosh, man, you should go out. It would be so much fun. And for whatever reason, my aunt
Yeah, why?
just didn't like
Obviously,
it.
yeah, obviously it's a generational thing. But like, what's the point about beating around the bush anyway?
I don't know.
Like, what's the?
But the fact that my aunt,
Time is short, man. Time's of the essence.
Come on.
Let's hang out. I like your face.
the fact that,
Let's go hang
I
out.
want to kiss it.
the fact that my aunt like called her out, well, said it to my mom, didn't say it to her face, and then the next morning, like the lady had to come get her car from the driveway. She was like, I just wanted to see her face, like my aunt's face when she did that, because she was just like, that's just not cute. It's not becoming of a woman.
To do the walk of shame.
I guess he took her back and brought her car. She's like, she did go home with him.
So what?
I don't know. That was just my family.
My mom says that kind of stuff all the time.
It's not cool to be.
I can't believe I raised 3 sluts. I'm like, Mom.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time.
You go, guess what, Mom? You did, and that's on you. Thanks a lot, Mom.
She still holds that she's only slept with like 2 people. And I'm like, you're a liar.
No,
Or
she
4
might be.
maybe.
She
but-
might be telling the truth.
Well, she has 2 baby daddies, so she's been. I think she says her number is 4, and I just don't believe it. She was alive in the 70s. She was going to
in
concerts.
2021 or like.
Yeah, no,
Your
she's
mom has 2 baby daddies?
My older sister has a different dad. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Did I know that? I
I
thought
don't
all
think so.
you guys had
No.
this. Tony was your all.
No.
All your dads were Tony.
All of our
I don't
dads
know
were
how to
Tony.
say this.
We all had the same dad, is what you
Yes.
thought. No, my older sister's dad died in a motorcycle accident when she was 2.
Really? Oh, so
She didn't really know him.
okay.
Yeah.
And Tony
He
basically.
swooped in
yeah.
pretty shortly.
Oh, that's
after
why
that.
she doesn't look like the other 2.
Yes.
Oh, she's a. I used
has
to
a
call her the.
different dad.
I used to call her the foxy one, but they're all foxy, right?
Yeah.
The other 2, yeah.
Oh, pretty hot.
Well, there's only.
There's 3 of us.
There's 3 girls.
yeah.
Mary's one of them.
Yes.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
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 But the oldest one was the one that I thought was foxy.
Yes.
But then your younger one, I guess, is 2, right?
Yes.
She seems nice. I mean,
Yeah. Attractive family.
Okay.
But yeah, she is very. My mom has.
Then maybe
Raised
listen.
for-
My mom.
She can't believe we slut around.
My dad is the only person my mom has ever had sex with.
That's crazy.
But it was a different.
That's how my parents are the same.
Okay, your parents are Mormon. Your parents are Catholic. But I also think that.
Well,
that
my mom
same,
was Catholic. My dad got around.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That same generation of people who are now in their 60s and 70s lived in the 60s and 70s when it was free love and everybody.
My
hooking
parents were super
up
square.
and-
My dad was military.
Yes.
My mom was like, she's still like, I was texting with my mom because I was talking to her about my friend who just died.
Mm-hmm.
Or I just found out she died. And my mom lost one of her friends the same week. So we were kind of doing a Lonely Hearts Club there or whatever. But this friend of my mom's is someone she was friends with still from high school.
Yeah.
Like once a year, my mom still has, at 73, a little circle of friends from high school, and they still get together. And I'm
Aw,
like,
that's great.
But what can you possibly talk about?
Each
or,
other?
You know,
Yeah,
The good old
everything that's
days.
going on. Grandma has friends like that.
but it's my dad is the only person that, my mom was real popular in high school and whatever, but she was,
Are you
Catholic.
sure it's only one?
What?
You sure? Those Catholic girls, there's rumors.
Well,
I mean-
only one in the eyes of the Lord.
Yeah.
I'll take I'll take her at her word. I mean,
Yeah.
I have no reason to think otherwise. But yeah, that is pretty wild.
Well, Well,
So
there's-
your mom, by saying 2, it might just be the people who squirted out cabbages.
I think she said 4. I can't remember, but it's a very low number like that. That I was
Yeah.
like, there's no shot. And because I'm thinking of like the 70s and everything was crazy and yada yada. And she's
But
like, no.
as much as that was crazy, it's only crazy if you participated in it.
Right.
Not
And
everybody,
not everybody
was doing free love.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There were plenty of buzz cuts walking around beating hippies up, and
Yeah.
You saw one of Epstein's dudes hanged himself.
Oh my
I didn't know it was
God.
suicide.
Yeah, himself. Mm-hmm, right.
Right, sure he did. Yeah, this French dude that they're alleging was a chief procurer of women for Jeffrey Epstein, this guy Jean-Luc Brunel. Now, they said that he had, I think the reason this is less suspicious is they're like, this guy's been trying to kill himself for a while. So this guy was 76 and he was in a jail cell. So it's
almost dead. What?
almost exactly like Epstein happened. My question is, why aren't they it seems super easy to hang yourself in your jail cell. Like, aren't they keeping an eye out? They didn't, because somebody
cameras
clearly
weren't working.
Yeah, somebody clearly turned their back on Jeffrey Epstein. But like, this guy hangs himself in his jail cell just like Jeffrey Epstein. His attorney said he was not driven by guilt, but by a deep sense of injustice. Sure, these guys, they're way into justice. But yeah.
I just don't understand the point. Like, these people didn't care when they were doing what they did. They didn't have any guilt then. Why do they have guilt for these other people that they're covering for? Because clearly it's a cover-up.
He doesn't. He said he wasn't. Okay,
I'm
look at
talking
this.
about in Epstein's case. What motive would he have to kill himself? He did.
Because he's 76. He doesn't want to go to jail. Why go through all that nonsense if you're like, I'm just going to throw a sheet over the bed frame here and take a seat?
I feel like it's a conspiracy on top of
Because the fun's over. If
you
you were,
think?
huh?
Epstein got caught several times before this was like the big get. Like,
But what I'm saying is, you're a 76-year-old French dude who's in a jail cell. The fun's over. The fun is when it was you and Trump and Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell running around with Charo or whatever, Bill Gates or whoever was it. When you're that rich, you're going to attract every single person, whether they're a perv or not. There can be a lot of pervs mixed in, just statistically. But the good times are over. So he probably figures it's only a matter of time before somebody unequivocally, because he was still alleged or whatever. But he was a guy that was accused of getting a lot of girls for Jeffrey Epstein. And of course, the women who have come forward, that Virginia Giuffre or whatever, they're all pissed. Because they're like, yeah, I would have liked to have seen this guy go to trial. But, he didn't want to go through that.
those names.
He's sticking it to him. You'll never catch me. Liberté. So, yeah. But I always think of, like, where are the guards in these situations? How is there nobody watching a guy who is instrumental to a case?
That's the whole point, Alan. Where are the guards?
Yeah, I know.
They were pooping.
Sleeping?
But you
Turning a blind eye?
But you can't tell me that they're paying everybody off in something like this. I
knows?
mean, Epstein was the rich guy. The victims aren't the rich people. Epstein was the rich guy. And they've frozen everything that was associated with that guy. So, yeah, I don't know. But this guy, they went to his jail cell. They went, Mon Dieu! Sacré bleu!
Well, it's like you said. His heyday's over.
Yeah.
He's 73. He's like, screw it. Why do I need to be alive anymore?
Yeah, he founded a modeling agency.
Oh.
And he was arrested.
Modeling agency.
He was arrested about a year and a half ago trying to board a flight to Senegal. And so he'd been running around for a little bit. And anyway.
Now he's done.
Now he's done.
He's done.
Took the Epstein way
He
out.
gone.
Did any
Yeah.
of you guys watch the Tinder Swindler?
No, I have heard about it. I've heard a lot of people talking about it.
I liked her in Constantine.
Who are you thinking of?
Tilda Swinton.
I'm sorry. Not Tilda Swinton?
Not Tilda
Swinton.
Last Lovers Left on Earth?
Yeah, he's this guy that like conned a lot of women out of a lot of money.
I heard about it. I'm getting
Yeah.
burned on these Netflix documentaries, boy.
This one's kind of upsetting if you don't mind me spoiling it a little bit.
Hold on. We gotta let the audience
Yeah.
know.
Is that long enough?
That's long enough.
Okay, good. All right.
So he cons all these women, gets a lot of money, like $10 million conning women to take out loans and give them the money. And he gets caught. He goes to jail. And now he's out of jail. And he's right back to it. Like he's
That's
making,
like the one that I watched, the British guy.
Yeah, it's like, because he's doing it in all these different countries, they're pretty minor crimes in each of those countries, but it adds up across all the stuff that he's done. So he got, 15 months in jail or something like that, which he didn't even have to do all of that time, I think because of COVID. So he got out, and now he's on Instagram,
It was a reality show.
living up his life. Yeah, he's got a hot model girlfriend. He's got cars.
He did his time.
Stuff, yeah.
But also, it's these documentaries. The one that I watched, I talked about, I think, a couple of weeks ago, where it was the British guy who kidnapped this girl and then took her away from her family for like 10. He told her he was MI5 and she had to go to a safe house, and she went along with it. And then the guy gets arrested and then let go on a technicality and then starts dating this American woman. It's like no one has Google.
Well, that's.
I mean, they operate under assumed names.
Yeah.
But also, like, once you find out, because, like, the woman's ex-husband is digging into it because he's
Yeah.
like, this man has spirited my ex-wife away, and she's cut off ties with her kids.
Yeah.
Her kids still haven't seen her. That's why I got burned by this documentary, because the end was like, to this day, she has not seen her children. I'm like, all right, great.
Now,
Tinder Swindler, though, I heard has got a little bit more of a
It's got a little bit more closure.
beginning, middle, and an end.
But it's one of those things where he's, he's out living a pretty good life now. Like he's got money. He's, even if he's still scamming people, he's getting away with it because technically they're just handing over money
that's
to him.
what I was
They're
just going to say.
voluntarily
Yeah.
giving it to him.
I was going to Mary Santora sex defender it and say, what is illegal about accepting money from somebody? That's not a crime. If someone hands you $10,000
defrauding them.
or $100, how?
Because he's lying
So what?
about the.
Is lying a federal crime?
Well, he went
Well,
to jail for something.
yeah,
What
he
did he
went
go to
to
jail
jail.
for? Wire fraud. They can get
Probably
you on.
something
Yeah,
like
because
can
that.
get you on
he's
something.
creating false names and buying fake passports and things like
That
that.
I
So that's what
understand.
he's getting in trouble for. But yeah, like
It just makes you a skis bag, though.
yes, he's absolutely a skis bag, but he's getting away with it at a pretty high level.
These women voluntarily give their money to Nigerian princes.
That's what I mean.
And that's illegal.
Well, that happens too, where the people.
But that's like a
it's-
phishing scam. They're like
getting
in emails and
catfished too.
stuff.
There's the women that are like getting catfished by the guy or whoever it is, and they're sending them hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, and they're like, "Oh, they just needed my help," because they thought it was somebody that it wasn't.
So,
I mean,
okay, but that's my point. Is
right,
that
it's
I'm not
just-
saying it's an okay thing to
It's
do.
a skeezy thing to do, but like that's
but it's
why
not illegal.
it's technically not illegal, but it's just it's real skeezy.
If I lied about something and you gave me $5,000, I didn't.
Then you're a magician.
Then I'm a magician, and I charge money for you to come into my shows
Mm-hmm.
as a professional liar. No, but what I'm saying, like, I didn't do anything legally wrong, morally very wrong.
But there are
you can't sue me because I lied to you.
Under deposition.
there
But
are
no.
certain aspects of it that are legit fraud. It's just hard to prove those things.
And that's also what this guy says, because all the stories, now that documentary is out, what this guy says is, hey, I'm a legitimate businessman. I didn't con anybody out of anything. I didn't con these women, and they weren't threatened. They gave me their money freely.
They had the choice to give it to him or not to.
Right.
right, and he knows the tactics to use to make them feel the pressure to do these things, and he builds up a level of trust with them where there will be money going back and forth, and then the third time he just keeps all the money.
This is an Israeli guy, and I haven't seen this, but I'm kind of reading a quick thing here. And listen, good rule of thumb is if a guy has multiple aliases, everything's probably not above board.
Bill Squire, Bam Bam, Bad Boy Bill, red flags, ladies.
Bad boy Bill. Hugo Butt.
Hugo Butt, yes.
If Hugo Butt ever asks you for $5,000, you know what's up. When questioned about whether he's the actual son of a billionaire diamond mogul, which is absolutely a job, He said that those claims are false. No, and I never presented myself as such. He also says he has no remorse. I don't feel bad for these women because he didn't do what they say I did.
I bet you he lays some mean pipe.
You have to.
I was gonna say it's always the ones that get out of prison that are just like have such a bad home life. All they have is their D. It's gotten them through life thus far, and that's what they rely on. They rely on these women.
It's real.
So it's so confusing I feel for these women because I'm sure they did. They were just like, he's nothing, he's nobody, and then they got a taste of that that D, and then they're like, all right, well, I'm about to spend my life with this man. I'm about to empty out my bank account. How does be that good?
How does your boyfriend now compare to the swindler D that you had in the past?
Way better. I only had one swindler D where there was like, I was dating a guy who could not keep a job. He was a drug dealer. Weed. I mean, drug.
So he
dealer,
had
whatever.
a job.
Well, that's what I mean. He had no legitimate job, but he sold weed, and that's
a legitimate job.
That
man.
sex was so good that we hooked up on a floor. He didn't have a bed. It was just not even a mattress, just a floor with some blankets.
You got to do it on a floor a couple of times.
He Swiffered you.
And I paid. Yeah, seriously.
Swiffered her right off her feet.
Just wet jetted. There it is.
She wet jetted, and then there was dust bunnies in her crack.
She wants a D, and she's going to get one.
But I paid for everything. We dated for like 7 months, and I paid for everything. And now
you ain't got it, baby. It's okay.
But that guy doesn't compare to what you're doing now.
No.
Right.
Well, she has to say that.
No, seriously.
But you also
she has to say that.
I've on multiple occasions said that my boyfriend's the best guy I've ever been with.
I know you have.
And
right?
she's been with a lot, Alan. She's mentioned that a lot.
Ask my mom.
Her mom even said.
Yeah.
One of the
Stretch me out over 9 more inches.
All right, listen. I've got to take a break. I will have tickets for you for the MAC Men's Championship, March 12th at the Romo Fijo. Want to get some college ball under your belt? We'll hook it up there. 35192 if you want to text, and we'll be back.